I never in my life trusted investing. You are surely about to lose every single dollar you have. Decades of losses. Start questioning your previous decisions. And this just confirms fear of investing. This is the best stock in the world. The next Tesla. I just casually made 20%. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude, as you can see by my certified business suit, and let me tell you a story. Okay, so as a kid, as a teenager, and even as a young adult, I never in my life trusted investing. Even when I started at 18th my bachelors in international economics back in Russia, I still had little faith in the stock market. In fact, it got even worse. While studying economics, I almost got involved in the pyramid scheme.
You will get rich quick, we all will.
And even though I still had a class about the stock market, I never believed in that you can make simply money there. This whole unfaithfulness, if you wanna call it like this, continued all the way until I tried finally myself. And instantly I became addicted to the stock market. I started reading more, self-studying, and the more I learned, the more trust I finally started having in this system where you can actually make money.
1, 2, 3. No!
But what's worse, whenever you became this addicted and more trust you have in the stock market, sometimes you become way too overconfident, which in fact is not always a good thing. Because as soon as you become overconfident, you start believing that you're a genius, and this especially happens during bull markets. You think that every single stock you're picking will go to the moon and you will become rich.
Stocks only go up.
You start following these hype trends, you start FOMOing, which is fearing of missing out, and because of this you start YOLOing all your money in risky investments, stocks or NFTs or crypto assets, and all this what's happening on the stock market, especially once again during bull markets, all this is magnified by social media creators who constantly flex their gains, whether these are YouTube videos, which is "This is how I made my 100x investment in this year," or some Instagram posts where people just flex their "I just casually made 20% in one day," like, hey, no. So, which brings me to another point, that these creators make even worse by shaming, literally shaming, directly or indirectly, those people who do not follow them on social media and who do not buy their courses or follow their advice.
How come I'm rich and you not?
So besides them patting themselves on the back and literally just congratulating themselves, "Oh, I'm so smart, I made this stock prediction and it turned out to be correct," even though all these stock predictions are literally just like gambling. You can make 100 stock predictions, and then as soon as one hits right, you just focus on making more and more videos about this particular company because you are right, and then you just ignore all the other 99 that you are incorrect. And the more similar videos you watch every single day, the more convinced you become. At first, you might be ignoring these guys always saying buy this, buy that, but then the more once again you see videos of them, the more you start believing them, especially if the company they're talking about, if its share prices constantly go up, and then eventually you might start even thinking that, oh my god, this guy is a genius, and eventually unfortunately you FOMO buy it. And just so you never FOMO buy, you should definitely like this video and subscribe to my channel so you'll never lose it. So yes, unfortunately, so many people start buying stocks of companies that are heavily promoted, and those people might do even their own research, but their opinions are already heavily biased, because it makes it so hard to make justified decision, because they're already very bullish on the company, and they tend to ignore every single negative thing about the company or about the stock, about the future potential of the company, you name it. And the worst thing about this is that FOMO buying leads to almost always buying at the very top of the share price.
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
And eventually, obviously, the buying pressure exhausts, which means that the growth slows down. And still, you might experience some weeks of growth, and you might be even thinking to yourself, yay, I knew it, this is the best stock in the world. But unfortunately, in most cases, this means that you most likely bought the stock at its almost near all-time highs. And the only logical thing after this to happen is that the stock prices start to decline. And yes, unfortunately, all hype inevitably comes to an end. Just think about Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, or all these famous crazy cryptocurrencies that were rallying so much just seemingly a couple of months ago, and now just look at them. They're just a mere shadows of themselves, which means that those people who bought into FOMO are left with sometimes decades of losses. And once you see that the share prices of stocks that you have inside your portfolio are dropping, then you finally start questioning your previous decisions. This is when you finally start making even more research. Because when everyone makes money, when you make money, you don't just question things because stock is growing, which means that you did everything correct. You don't read more articles, you don't watch more YouTube videos about the company, you don't participate maybe even in earnings calls, because that's it. Stock price goes up, it means everything you did is correct. But once again, once the stock that you have, that you assume that you did all the research around this stock in the past, once it starts going down, this is when you finally start seeing that there might be some problems about the company. Some problems which you might ignore because you are either blinded by FOMO and you just bought inside the stock because everyone else was buying and the stock price was always going up. Or because maybe some YouTuber suggested you to buy this and he brought so many convincing arguments. He made entire video series about this stock, that why you shouldn't buy it, why you should never sell it, why this is a such great company. But once things start to go bad, it is in human nature, unfortunately, to just start blaming everyone around them. And once your portfolio, which is full of hyped stocks, inevitably goes down, this is when you start losing faith in the stock market. And this is when you start thinking that the rules of the game might be working against you. You start becoming skeptical about every single advice that you receive online. These YouTubers, these content creators, they might be right about 100 other things, but as soon as they are wrong about one thing which made you lose lots of money, this is when your faith, when your trust in them is lost for a very long time. Whenever an experienced people lose money on the stock market, I'm sure all of them, they are telling about this to their friends, relatives, all about negative experience investing money. And this just confirms fear of investing among those people who never tried investing themselves. You might even have someone just like this in your family or among your friends, or maybe it is your uncle from Kentucky who lost a fortune, who lost his entire savings in Dogecoin. Maybe this is even you, the person who never tried investing and who is afraid to even start. And I mean that there is no judgment, because I used to be just like you. And the key is to change this mindset, and the only way to do so is by self-studying, because I'm sure that schools and universities, they never teach the even advanced things about personal finance. They might talk about the basics, but nothing more than this. And I even have this, if you want to call it, conspiracy theory, that banks specifically promote financial illiteracy, because people who do not know anything about personal finance are their clients, which basically means if every single person knows how to manage their own money, banks will have little to no clients. Their main point on which they focus the most is that if you manage your money or invest all by yourself, you are surely about to lose every single dollar you have. Besides that, they always make sure to include all these scary words like derivatives, futures, options, just to scare you even more, and at the same time, so it feels like for you that they know what they're talking about. But okay, back to personal finance. The key here is to self-study, because no one else will ever teach you this. And I personally started by just reading books, and I carefully selected 5 best books about investing or investing psychology that I think personally are very good for beginners, and I made a video just for you about these books, which you can find in the top right corner. Thank you all so much for your attention, товарищи. Now go get up to $4,500 from Wealthsimple, and all the other useful links will be down in the description. I will see you once again on Monday, and now feel free to watch the video about the books I suggested earlier.